You LeBron James fanboys are just unreal and unremarkable in your defiance and your delusional way of thinking when it comes to LeBron James. And so is ESPN LeBron Center, because I'm really getting sick and tired of you guys, always trying to find a way to, defend LeBron James or find an excuse or, come up with this or that. Okay, I understand this year he gets some of his observation. He's not going to get 100% of the blame or 90. His team gets 90% of the blame. He gets 10. His team definitely wasn't up to par. But I got nauseated and sick listening to that post game with Tim Legler and Stephen A. Smith and all these guys over there, John Bucich across the LeBron Center crew, talking about, oh, we should feel sorry for this guy. My heart goes out to him. I'm feel petty. I feel sorry for him that he had to endure what he had to endure. It was just a shame that he didn't get nothing from his teammates. My thing is, I don't feel sorry for him, man. You're the greatest player in the game. I'm not cutting you no slack. If Michael didn't perform the way he performed because he set his bar and standard so high that I'm not going to chop it down or force some type of sympathy for him because, oh, you ran into certain situations, your team is injured. That's basketball. That is football. You run into injuries. I understand it. Okay? Now, I like the fact that you LeBron James fans, when you want to compare Michael to Michael to LeBron James, you're always trying to talk about how LeBron. I had some arguments where some guy said LeBron is better than Mike or he's right up there. No, he's not, because the stats would say otherwise. As you can see right there, as you can see right from the first clip. Okay, the stats will say otherwise. And we're going to get deep. We're going to go deep into these stats. We're going to go deep into everything. Because I'm going to make sure you guys don't have nowhere to run, nowhere to, sidestep. You're not going to have nowhere to go. The ring is going to be short and narrow, and you're not going to have much room. Because the truth is going to smack y'all dead in the face. Because I'm sick and tired of you guys talking about, oh, I'm sick and tired of people giving him crap. And you know what? I'm sick and tired of you guys on his dick. You know what I'm saying? I'm sick and tired of that shit. I'm sick and tired of people wanting to give him an excuse, give him a way out. I love when people say, let's give him, no, I don't see it as 2-4. I see it as 2-2. Don't insult my intelligence, dog. It's 2-4. There's a reason why it's 2-4. It's like he gets no blame, but his team gets all the blame. Last night, it's not indicative of the whole series. It's not his fault, per se. But I'm not going to absolve him from the blame either. Like, he didn't play well. He was 12 of 33, I believe. No points in the fourth quarter. And when the game was close, he wasn't making shots. The game was still in the balance, and he wasn't coming up big in an elimination game like that. But you LeBron James fans always got to have a circle, right? You always like to sidestep when we talk about Jordan and LeBron, right? So you guys always like to say, oh, Jordan always has a better team. Jordan has the better team. Oh, and then y'all like to say, oh, you take Jordan's team, so that eliminates your argument. No, let's look at the statistics. Look at them. I'm going to leave all the links in the descriptions to all these stats you can see. Michael averages 31, Scotty averages 17, and you got Horace Grant with 12 points, 12.8. Bill Cartwright with 9.6, and then John Paxton 8.7, BJ Armstrong 8.8. I mean, these guys are role players. Okay? You act like these guys were superstars. They were on all first team, all second team, all defensive team. No, they weren't. They were role players. People get caught up in John Paxton highlight 3-point shot that Michael Jordan passed the ball, and they act like he's indicative. That's an indictment on how much of a superstar he is. Like he's just this world-renowned guy. They get caught up with the Steve Kerr 3-pointer, and then they act like, that guy's a superstar. I got news for you. If you look at 91, 92, 93, these guys were putting up average numbers throughout the season and through the playoffs. The numbers show it right there. The numbers don't lie. It is right there in front of your face. The 91, 92, 93 Chicago Bulls. I looked at all the rosters. Okay? And it's going to be crazy when you compare it to even the earlier teams LeBron James had. Some of those guys was averaging more points than the rest of the Bulls teams that won those championships. Those 50 early win teams LeBron James was on. That's what gets me, though. It's like it's eerily similar if you look at those numbers. As some of it are better on Cleveland's side. But I'm not going to compare those teams because what I want to do is compare LeBron's best Cleveland teams against Michael's best Bulls teams. And then we're going to look at the Miami Heat's teams against Michael's teams. And I got into a debate with the guy trying to tell me that, okay, Mike teams, even when he left those 2 years, they were still contenders. They were playoff contenders. They were in the hunt for the playoffs. When LeBron left, that team went to shit. Okay? Check this out. LeBron leaves his team. They went to shit. Okay? That shows you how a level of greatness he is, right? But when Mike leaves his team, they still have a good playoff run, but they lose to the Knicks. This is what you guys don't want to bring up, or you refuse to, or you don't want to look at it, or you like to say he just had great teams. When he came back, they lost that first year in the playoffs in '95 to the Magic, that Orlando Magic team that was loaded. Okay, you can look at that roster. That roster was loaded. Mike, the next year, wins 3 championships in a row with those guys who couldn't beat those teams the previous year. And even when they lost with Mike that year. But he comes back and towards the end of his career, when he's entering in his 30s, he's still putting up monster numbers. He comes back. They win 3 championships in a row. You like to overlook that against great teams. 2 60-win teams in the Utah Jazz back-to-back, 97 and 98. Both teams are loaded. I like when guys who have no knowledge of what they're talking about tries to tell me, well, those Jazz teams is corny. Really? 60-win teams? Because if LeBron James was to beat the Warriors, I would have to give him nothing but credit with that bunch he had, no doubt. Because he beat a 67-win team. But you guys like to completely flat out ignore because Mike, so on quote unquote, had those great teams. No, Mike made those teams great. They had good players. Mike took them to the next level. You can't ignore the fact that he won 3 championships when they come back. 3 championships. That is mentally tough, physically tough, and it wears you down during the season. If you think just getting to the playoffs is just a grind, try that 3 times in a row. Like when I'm saying getting to the playoffs, it's hard enough to get to the playoffs and keep playing at a consistent basis for a long period of stretch of games against great teams. That is not easy. Okay? So I can't cut LeBron slack if Mike can come back with those groups and win 3 championships and elevate their game to the point where we can do it when I'm at the age of 35. And at the age of 35 in those playoffs, he played more minutes at any point in his career in those playoffs. That's what baffles me, man. Like, you LeBron James guys don't want to look at that. Y'all completely ignore that. Y'all try to say because, I take his teams, I'll take the Michael Jordan teams, the Bulls teams, over his team. That ends the argument right there. It does not, because if you want to use that logic, guess what? I would take the Kobe teams that were dominant with the Shaq Kobe teams. I would take them over the some of those early Bulls teams. That team was loaded. Red Fox, Robert Ory, Kobe Bryant. I mean, Derek Fisher. The bench was loaded. I mean, seriously, guys. I mean, Shaq, obviously. Are you kidding me, man? Like, that's why I don't understand how you just use that argument. I could take those teams. Does that mean Kobe is better than Mike? No, it does not. You can look at this, look at the rosters. You're gonna find it weird, crazy that the stats are gonna blow your mind. Like, you look at it was nothing but role players. It was Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, playing with Scottie Pippen, who's a Hall of Famer in his own right, but he had Mike with him. And a lot of people say, what if Scottie didn't have Mike? Well, Scottie didn't have Mike those 2 years, and he didn't win the championship, right? Mike comes back, Scottie gets 3 in a row. Who's the Batman? Who's the Robin? Ask me that. Who's the Batman? Who's the Robin? I guess you got no answer. Because I get sick of that. And people like to act like, oh, if it wasn't for Scottie playing defense. You know, in that 91 finals, Mike guarded Magic a majority of the time. In fact, Mike would guard the other team's best player 75% of the time. Why averaging 30 points in the playoffs and putting up 40 burgers in the playoffs, putting up 60 burgers early in his career against the Celtics? But we're going to get deep into those numbers later into this video, because you LeBron James fanboys who never went to look at stats in a deep and analytical way, because you always want to look at the stat that favors LeBron James when it comes to this Michael Jordan, LeBron James thing, so it can validate your argument. Well, here's the statistics here, right here. 66 win team with the Cleveland Cavaliers. This roster was pretty loaded to me. And they lost to the Orlando Magic, who won 58 games that year. They were better than the Orlando Magics. They were a better team than the Orlando Magics. I don't care what you say. They were a better team. LeBron had that buzzer beater everybody remembers. But that's the problem with you, LeBron James. You only want to remember things that you want to remember, that you think happened in your, that you always want to remember things that help your argument and ignore the other things that deflates your argument. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at that series, LeBron came up small in those games where they lost. And a lot of people saying he don't have help, he don't have help, he didn't have help. Those were good Cleveland teams, man. And if you want to use that he didn't have help, he has to go off. Well, he has to play at that level. That's the thing with Mike. That's what was so special about Mike. This guy would play with the flu. He would go beyond the necessary reasons of why. I think Skip said best. He has all this talent, and he's the most super overachiever I ever seen in sport as an athlete. He would overachieve just to win. LeBron has to do that. I don't want to hear an excuse. You're the greatest player on the planet. You have to constantly elevate your game. I don't want to hear no sob stories about his team is this. I guarantee you, Mike plays that game last night. They do not go out like that. There will be a game fucking 7. I don't give a damn what you say, because the game was in the balance. It wasn't like they got just blown out the whole course of the game. It was in the balance. The game was in the balance last night. LeBron mixed a couple shots. That's why I give him 10% of the blame. He didn't make those big shots that, could have changed the course of the game. He did it in game 2 when he missed that shot. A lot of people forget those great Miami Heat team. He choked against the Spurs. But if Ray Allen didn't save his ass and make that three-pointer in the corner, they don't win that finals. If Kawhi Leonard makes that foul shot, which he usually makes, they don't win in the playoffs. The Spurs win 2 championships in a row. Okay? So I don't want to hear none of this, oh, let's feel sorry for him, let's cut him some slack. That really gets on my nerves when ESPN talking about some, oh, he's really 2 of 2 because of his teams that he had to deal with. Nobody had to endure what he had to endure. Get that shit out of my face. You're the greatest player on the planet. This is what I cannot stand. This is why I can't stand Marcellus Wiley with the stupid shit that he said. Oh, Mike had those great teams, da-da-da-da-da. LeBron is the greatest player on the planet. This is what gets me about this shit right here when you look at these statistics. Mike was going against far greater competition. A lot of these idiot LeBron James fans like to say, oh, Mike didn't play nobody back then. Who did he go against? Look at these numbers, what he was doing while he was scoring title and MVP in the same season. You see a lot of zeros for LeBron James, what he was doing. Mike was doing stuff that was unprecedented at the shooting guard position. He dominated in a league where you had to have a big man to win a championship. LeBron James had pretty good big men early in his career with Zunis Ilgauskas and Chris Bosh. You give Michael Jordan that team with the Miami Heat, they win that 3 in a row. They win championships 3 in a row that he was there. They don't lose to the Dallas Mavericks. He doesn't come up small like that, the way LeBron James came up small against the Dallas Mavericks. Has LeBron James lately got better in his career as being a better fourth quarter player? Yes, I acknowledge that. Is LeBron James a better passing guy than Michael Jordan? Yes. But the thing is, Michael Jordan could be the best passer when he needed to be. He led the league in assists one year. He played point guard one year. Michael Jordan, the key thing is he did what he needed to do to win. To use the argument to say if he doesn't elevate his game, guess what? Elevate your game. Elevate it, because Michael kept elevating. That's what I love what Isaiah Thomas said. Mike always had this extra endurance that nobody else had. You have to do it. And you LeBron James fans, look at that. Look how many 60-win teams Mike's went against. Look how many 50 to 59 plus win teams Mike went against, and 49 plus win teams Mike went against. The competition that Mike faced was far better than what LeBron went against. Mike did that against better defenses, putting up those numbers in the playoff that LeBron James did. Now, he did a good job against the number 1 defense against the Golden State Warriors. Won't take that away. He played out of his mind those first 3 games. And I can't stand LeBron James fans that say he has the killer instinct. No, he does not. Mike has the killer instinct. You have nothing to say. There's no circles you can go around. It's over. Get over it. Mike is the greatest. LeBron comes up small in the playoffs. That's it. That's it. And let's talk about this LeBron James defensive shenanigans that you LeBron James fan like to run out there, like because you saw him guard Kevin Garnett at the age of, at the end of his career. You just think he's this great defensive stopper. He guarded Derrick Rose. He's 6'8", guarding a guy who's 6'3". No, stop. Defensively, Michael was a far better defensive player. Far better. The numbers show it. Look at it. Because a lot of you LeBron James fans like to say, well, Mike, he couldn't play defense the way LeBron James played. You obviously have no clue about basketball, man. Like I said earlier in my videos, Mike guarded the best player on the other team 70% of the time. There is no denying that. There is no backwards, no backtracking you can go to. The statistic is in your face. Look at it. Look what he's done. Look what Michael Jordan has done. LeBron didn't start getting noticed as a defensive player 6 years into his career on the all-defensive team. I mean, Michael did this 10 times. While putting up offensive monster numbers. These are the accomplishments that I'm talking about far as Mike. Okay? You LeBron James fanboys need to understand that. I'm not going to let you dance or tippy toe or sidestep these factual statistics that I'm bringing to your face. Stop with the bullshit, man. I cannot stand this pity party that's going on for LeBron James. No, I'm not cutting him no slack, dude. Does he deserve all the blame in the finals for this one? No, but he deserves a good amount. Somebody going to tell me if it wasn't for LeBron, they play. I mean, they would have swept. If Cleveland would have swept them, if they're about game two, they was trying to tell me about game two, they would have got swept. Well, if Matthew Dellavedova doesn't hit those free throws, Cleveland ends up getting swept. So that argument can go either way. That's not a valid argument to make to say, oh, they would have got beaten. Does Kyrie Irving injury play a factor? Yes. Does Kevin Love's injury play a factor? Yes. Would have probably most likely been a different outcome. But we're talking about it as is. Okay? I don't want to hear this fatigue garbage either. Stop with he played a lot of minutes. Stop. Game 6, the Michael's last finals, he played a ton of minutes while Scotty was getting hurt. So he had to play more minutes than he was accustomed to in that finals. And he continued to do what was necessary to win while the game was in the balance. 3 crucial plays. 45 points, hitting the game winner with the flu. I don't want to hear this fatigue bullshit garbage, man. You're the best player. You have to dig in. You have to get that extra something. That's what Mike did. I'm going to say it again. Isaiah Thomas said, like, Mike had this extra endurance that nobody else had. He went that extra limit. He did that extra thing to make sure that he got his team that W. Stop with this team thing. You can go look at the statistics, man. Stop. Yeah, you want to use, and he left his teams with the shit, but he was there. He was playing at a high level. Those teams that he went against, he should have beaten them teams. He should have beaten them Celtics teams that his teams had a better record in, and they were a better team than those Celtics teams. He should have beaten those teams. There's no fucking excuse for the way he played. You can choke and still get to the finals. Peyton Manning chokes a lot. He gets to the Super Bowl. Brett Favre is a choker in the big games, but he got to 2 Super Bowls. Guys can choke and get to the championship, okay? Because different things happen during the course of the game. Like LeBron James choke, Ray Allen bails him out. You understand? You can choke and still get there because other guys that are clutch on your team make other plays. And you would be like, well, you say that his teammates didn't do that. Well, it wouldn't have to come to that if he was clutch. Mike didn't have to rely on that unless the whole defense was on him. So you LeBron James fans, stop with the dumb shit, okay? Stop with the dumb shit. Stop with the bullshit argument. Stop with this, oh, LeBron needs this, this, and this. I'm getting sick of that argument because y'all want to give him all the props in the world when he plays like these crazy games. And I mean, you looking at these couple of games, he took a lot of shots. You know what I'm saying? And I know what you're going to say, but Mike took 39 shots in Game 6 in the NBA Finals. Well, Mike can take 39 shots, but make the biggest buckets in the game, okay? And then Scotty was injured, so he carried his team on his shoulders. He's playing with a bunch of role players and without his Robin on his team, and he carried them. And he made the game-winning shots. He came up big in the big moments. He made those clutch shots. It doesn't have to be always buzzer beaters because LeBron James like, oh, he ties him with buzzer beaters, so he has to be up there as a clutch player. No. Michael Jordan made the crucial plays in Game 6 to win that finals against a great team. Okay? That's why those 39 shot attempts are alleviated because he came up big when the situation commanded him to come up big, demanded it. He came and rose to the occasion. LeBron James does not do that on a consistent basis. Are you listening? On a consistent basis. Like I said before in the video, he has gotten better at it late in his career. But early in his career, he was not doing it at a consistent basis, being clutch. Okay? Michael has that killer instincts because he just knew how to rip your heart out. LeBron James is not that type of player. He's not that type of guy. All right, you guys want to say, well, he's 7 for 17 when he's a go-ahead or ties. Yeah, there we go with the ESPN statistics. But do you remember specific games against Orlando when he came up small? Do you remember those games against the Celtics when he came up small? When he came up small against not the when he got swept against the Spurs, but the Miami Heat teams he came up small. I mean, seriously, yo, the excuses need to stop for this guy. Stop. You have nowhere to go. Your arguments are futile and cannot do shit. Michael Jordan is the best player because his statistics says that, his championship says that. He's unblemished. He's 6-0. You've been there six times. You only won 2. You lost 4. You got to take some of the blame. I'm Samantha.